Hey everyone, back for another review. We're going into Walt Disney's latest film about Winnie the Pooh, starring Ewan McGregor and the voice of Jim Cummings and Brad Garrett, and it's none other than Christopher Robins. Christopher Robins is the story of the titular character, Christopher Robins, played by Ewan McGregor, who has grown up. He has left 100 Acre Woods. Now he has a wife and a daughter, and he has himself a job as where he's a financial controller, basically. He's the person who says what needs to get cut and various jobs like that. At the same time, Winnie the Pooh's place, 100 Acre Wood, Winnie the Pooh is noticing that all his friends have disappeared. So in a mad dash, Winnie the Pooh tries to get Christopher Robins to help him find all his friends, and Winnie the Pooh is trying to help Christopher Robins find the youthfulness or the playfulness he had as a kid that he abandoned just to become another boring, drab adult. This movie it's a mixed bag in a little bit, because this is the movie exactly what from my explanation, you can tell what's going to happen in the movie. The main characters grew up to be a drab person. A piece of his childhood is going to come back. It's going to help him realize that he needs to have more fun in life, and then it's going to end in a very schmaltzy way. And yeah, while that is this movie, it has a lot of charm to it. It does it real well. Let's go with the actors. Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor, I'm a huge fan of him, first of all. But he really plays this well, considering most of the times he looks like he's talking to puppets or little dolls. But in all honesty, he's probably talking something more akin to this wall over here. He's probably talking to a green tennis ball. And he plays it really well. He's really sweet, and you can really tell his despair between, some of the decisions he has to make in this movie. Whether it's, without going into spoiler territory, just realizing that he needs to get back to what, the more playful side, and not, the world isn't all serious. Then you have, and he does it really well, then you have, of course, Winnie the Pooh, voiced by Jim Cummings, coming back to reprise his role, because I believe he does most of the voices for the animated series. And he just has this childlike voice to him, and this innocence to his voice. And I have to give big props to the writers, because they knew exactly how to write him. He was never trying to be cutesy. This is a character who plays it exactly like he should play it, and exactly like the TV show and the books do, where he just has this innocence to him. If you've seen the trailers for it, some of the best quotes is like, "Oh, people say nothing is impossible, but I do nothing every day." There are a lot of lines like that, or probably my favorite lines, like, "I usually get to where I'm going by walking away from where I've been." And he just says it with this very innocent voice. And even if you don't believe in the stuff he's saying, or even if it's illogical, you can tell it's coming from a place of innocence. It's coming from the heart, and it's just coming from almost like a child's point of view, and simplifying things. That's one of the great things that Winnie the Pooh has always done, and that's what this movie does with the character. One of the standout characters in this movie, I have to say, is Eeyore, voiced by Brad Garrett. First of all, whoever did the casting for this movie, the voice casting, they absolutely hit on the head with Brad Garrett. He is great as Eeyore. Once again, the writing side of it, they get his character right. This is a character that's easy to get wrong, especially in this day and age, where they'll almost make sad characters depressing to watch and annoying. Eeyore in this movie he is a depressed character, he's a sad character, but I found him probably one of the most funniest parts of the movie. He was really, all his lines are really genuine, and it's just like, he's not trying to make you sad, it's always he's about, well, I feel sad and this is how I see it. From the various times, there's a really good, from the moment where Christopher Robin comes to the 100-Acre Woods as an adult, and he finds Eeyore, all his interactions with Eeyore is hilarious. Between him being confused for what's it called? Between him calling Christopher Robin's a wolf of love. He's really adorable and really, for being a depressing character, he is probably the comedic essence of the movie. The CGI in this movie is amazing, the way all the characters look, and they made very specific aesthetic choices in this movie, i.e. Eeyore, Piglet, obviously Winnie the Pooh, and Tigger are all done looking like fuzzy animals. They all look like stuffed dolls, where you have you have the characters of the rabbit and the owl, which are completely CGI, which gives it a nice contrast between the characters in the 100-Acre Woods. The CGI is really excellent in this movie, even down to the parts where Winnie the Pooh's face isn't that expressive, but there are moments where he smiles, and even though it's like tiny little movements, because he looks like a doll, so it's like 2 or 3 stitches here, when it moves a little, it's actually pretty heartwarming. A lot of this movie is pretty heartwarming, I have to say, as well. I found myself kind of getting emotional at times. Specifically the one scene where Ewan McGregor starts to lose his patience with Winnie the Pooh. There's a line Pooh asks him, and Christopher and Ewan McGregor answers him exactly how the state of his character's mind is. And it's kind of heartbreaking, in all honesty. Even the ending is very sweet. This is definitely a movie you want to take all your family to. It's rated PG. It easily could have been rated a G. There's nothing scary about this movie at all. So there's that. As far as the bad, the movie kind of is a little bit slow to start with, and it constantly builds. But as long as you can get past the first half, I think you'll be completely fine. I think they spend a little bit too much time on Christopher Robin's growing up period, where you just kind of want to get them back to the, get back to the CGI characters, Winnie the Pooh and company, coming into the story. I kind of wished also the Ewan McGregor's wife in the movie got a little bit more to do. She really didn't have much to do. But that's kind of it. And plus, the only other thing is the story. Just from me explaining it, just from the trailer, you can tell exactly what the movie is going to be about and where it's going to go. It doesn't hurt the movie. It doesn't really do anything new with it as well. But at least the characters are strong enough. It's not paint by the numbers. You won't be like, okay, it's going to hit. This isn't Secret Life of Pets to Toy Story 1. It's not like that. This is actually interesting. It's heartwarming. I will say, if I had to say probably the best scenes in the movie, I really love the ending. Anytime Winnie the Pooh had dialogue, it was really cool. Eeyore was definitely the standout. Ewan McGregor did a really good job provoking character and emotion, even though most of the time, about 70%, more than 70%, about 80% of the time, he was interacting with nothing. But he pulled it off. Maybe that Star Wars prequel stuff did help him out with interacting with nothing. Yeah, if I had to I'd probably give this a solid 8. This is really, it's an enjoyable movie with a framework that's very reminiscent of things we've seen before. but they do it really well. Voice acting is really good. Ewan McGregor is really good. Actually, the shooting is actually really good. This is a darker toned movie than I would figure. They use a lot of harsh colors. They use a lot of bland colors for the background. Even if you look at the puppets or the CGI characters, Winnie, Eeyore, Tigger, all of them are shot kind of like in dull colors to show that they're like either used up dolls or they're old dolls and not necessarily new. And it actually works out for this time setting. I believe this takes place in the 50s, really after World War II. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. The characters are well written, I have to say that. And I had myself a good time while watching this and got a little misty-eyed a couple of times. Yeah. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Christopher Robin. Did you see Christopher Robin? What are your thoughts on it? Comment below, like, subscribe. I'm probably going to be doing another movie review in a couple of days. I haven't figured out what movie yet though. But yeah, that's it for today. And don't be a woozaloo. Bye.